All right. Appreciate everybody being out here today. What a journey these first 8 months have been for me and my family, just kind of getting, entrenched in the Norman community. And what a privilege it's been to get to be around these kids and watch them work for the last 8 months. And excited for the next phase of this journey, getting into fall camp, getting into the season and everything. But really excited. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Okay, if you've got a question, just raise your hand and we'll get to as many as we can. We do need to be done by 10:35. Let's start here in the middle aisle. John Hoover, Sports Illustrated Sooners.
Thank you. Ben, when you think about the most popular guy on campus, right, the backup quarterback situation, I know everybody wants to talk about John, but I want to start with the backups.
Okay.
What's your plan for evaluating those guys? Because I'm talking about third string guys, Jet and your other newcomer, Witt. What's your plan for evaluating those guys, getting them enough snaps to step in?
Yeah, well, with young guys, the biggest thing that you can always do, one, is they have to be able to go out there and operate, right? So you're constantly in the meeting room, in the film room with them, and holding them accountable whenever they make a mistake out there, letting them know that this can't happen again. But it's ultimately giving them the reps to go out there and watch them operate and giving them the confidence to go out there and operate. And once they do something good, it's one of those deals where they really like that feeling. And so they're like, okay, what was my process to do that? And then they'll just keep on repeating that. And ultimately, as a coach, you get to where, like, okay, I really trust this guy. He can go out there, he can get the job done and do what we need him to do.
It's a little bit more teaching, right, for young guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about teaching and just getting more and more experience as you can.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, next to John, Bob Brisbillo, Sooner Scoop.
Yeah, Ben, multiple times you've mentioned getting the confidence back up for some of the guys who've been here. What does that process entailed, and how much does it help to have someone like Deion Burks there?
Yeah. Well, for a quarterback, confidence one comes from the guys around you, right? And now that we're in this point post-spring, post-summer, where we're going into fall camp and everybody has a really good grip of the offense, the system and everything, that's where confidence really starts building in those quarterbacks because, hey, he can check a play at the line and you don't have to worry about anybody, busting or, just doing the wrong thing. Whenever everybody's on the same page and then the quarterback executes like he should, then that's whenever the trust and the confidence really starts to build. But in the film room, it's constantly highlighting really, really good things that those quarterbacks do, right? Hey, drop balls and stuff happen, a whole bunch of different stuff happens, but it's constantly reinforcing, hey, you did a great job right here, great ball, our guy's going to pull it in.
We'll stay on this side. Tom Green, Sooners Illustrated.
Ben, last year, I know you weren't here obviously, but just the struggles of the offensive line, some injuries, and going through 8 different lineups through the first 9 games. When you have a game like Michigan in week 2, like how important is it to just kind of get that core 5 kind of settled as early as you can?
I mean, it's definitely important. You want those guys just as much as the quarterback's confidence. You want the O-line flying around out there, being on the same page with everything. But I think that comes with the work that they've put in the last 8 months. Everything from spring ball to summer, the extra time on their own, meeting, the ego, the positive ego that they've built from their work in the weight room this summer. We had a meeting yesterday, team meeting yesterday, just highlighting all the great things that a lot of position groups have done this summer. And I don't think it was to anybody's surprise that the offensive line did unbelievable this summer, and that should breed a lot of confidence into them going into, that week 1, week 2 matchups.
Okay, right here, Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider.
Hey, Ben, I wanted to ask you about the running back room. We've talked a lot about Jaden in particular, but what do you like about the other guys in that room, and just what are you kind of looking for them as we get through fall camp?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of awesome players in there. I think we have a really deep running back room. The biggest word that I like to use with those guys is they're all dependable. They're sharp. They're smart. They know exactly what to do. And that's a testament to how Coach Murray coaches them and holds them accountable, too. And so, with Javante and Torrey and X and Taylor, all of those guys post Jaden, without Jaden, those guys are sharp, and they've been here for the whole 8 months that I've been here. So they're dialed on everything. And so that's the biggest thing I can say about them. Man, those guys are dependable.
Far left, Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio.
You got a lot of receivers. You had a good look at them in the spring. How far along do you think that you know or you feel like you got some guys there that you were looking to at the beginning of camp, and of course taking into the opening of the season in terms that can play for you.
That can play for us. We have a lot of those guys, right? That can help us. That's the beauty about fall camp, and even the summer. But that's the beauty about fall camp is that the competition is going to be strong every single day. There's a lot of guys out there that are still trying to essentially say, okay, I'm the guy at this position. We tell them all the time, go out there and take it. Like, if you want it, go take it. Nobody's just going to give it to you. But I feel really good about the crop that we have in there. Those guys in there, they're awesome. And they put the work in to get better. And that's what I'm excited about this fall camp is the competition, because that's only going to make things even better.
We're going to go to the right side first row. Ryan Aber, the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Ben, I also want to ask you about the tight ends. Just that group specifically, how have you seen it progress since you've been here? And specifically, a couple of returners. One, how's Caden Helms come along since we've seen him be hurt a lot?
Yeah.
And then Jiren Canock, how has he continued to settle in on that side of the ball?
That group's had a lot of development. I mean, a lot of it. And Coach Finley's done a great job with those guys. One, getting them on the same page, and honestly taking them to a place where I don't even think they thought that they could go. Especially whenever you think about the beginning of spring. I mean, there's some stuff that was like, okay, all right, that's going to be a challenge. And then by the end of spring, it was like, okay, these guys got it. It's awesome. And then in summer, the best thing about that room is that they're really, really smart. They're really intelligent. Okay, and so they don't forget anything you tell them. They remember how they messed up on something. They don't make the same mistake twice. I'm really excited about that group, especially going into fall camp, because that's one group where it's like, okay, hey, somebody go take it. Okay, you're all I love them all as players, but somebody go take it. And there's gonna be a lot of competition between different team aspects, 7-on-7, pod work, that we're evaluating everything. So I'm really excited about them. And then Caden Helms, I wasn't here for all those injuries and everything, but you hear about it and everything. You kind of see kind of the toll it can have on the kid. I think he's been having a lot of fun just being able to play football and not have to worry about anything, right? He's healthy. He's looked great. And he's one of those kids that I say is really sharp, man. And so I'm excited to watch him go out there, compete, make plays all over the field, because he can do a little bit of everything out there. And I love that in the tight end position, a guy who can do a little bit of everything. And he's definitely one of them. So, I mean, he's been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited for him.
Next to Ryan, we'll go to Mason Young, Tulsa World.
Yeah, Ben, wanted to ask you about John Mateer. Just what do you feel like was maybe his biggest point of growth this summer? Things that you wanted him to work on, and what are you kind of looking for his second fall camp as the starter in your offense?
The biggest point of growth, I think, for John this summer, again, he was fortunate enough to be with me the last 2 years. And so schematically and everything, he's a lot where I want him to be. The things that we get to work with him now is NFL film study, right? Hey, you do this, okay, I really like how this certain guy does this. Okay, let's watch him. Let's study him. And he is a diligent film studier. Okay, but the other thing that he was kind of not necessarily challenged on, but something that, hey, you need to go make this team your own. You're the quarterback of this team. You need to go make this team your own. And just how he's interacted with everyone in the building, from players to coaches, and built the trust of everyone in the building by being accountable, by being relatable. By holding people accountable. When we're out there at summer, if someone does something that's not up to our standard, like, he lets them know about it. And that was kind of his biggest point of growth, was just really kind of making this team his own. And he's done a great job with it.
Staying on that side, Colton Sully, the Oklahoman.
Ben, you talked a little bit about the other guys in the running backs room, but what have you maybe learned about Jaden this offseason that you maybe didn't know before he got here?
I got to coach a football game against Jaden whenever I was at Washington State, and he had his way with us that day. He was a good player, so I knew he was a talented kid, right? I mean, the eye test can pass that, but not knowing anything about the kid, he's an older kid. The thing that has impressed me the most about him is how diligent he is to his work and how intentional he is with everybody. He doesn't waste time. He does exactly what he needs to do. in order to put himself in the best position possible. And so that's what's been most impressive to me is his diligence and his intentionality.
George, go ahead.
Yeah, Ben, you have a really talented freshman offensive lineman in Michael Fasusi. What does he need to show you, in fall camp early in the season that you can rely on him, you can trust a young guy like that to potentially play or start for you guys?
Yeah, Michael's going to have a lot of opportunities to grow this fall camp. And with young guys, that's the biggest thing because physically he looks great. He's an unbelievable athlete, and he's a great kid. But, whenever you're that young and you step into this college game, just getting those reps and building that mental fortitude, especially at the offensive line position, that's the most important thing. So the biggest thing for him is going to be the reps that he gets this fall camp and how he maximizes those reps and how he learns from, maybe something that bad that happened on a play or something that really good that happened on a play. But that's going to be the biggest thing for him is ultimately building up that mental fortitude because he's a great kid, he's a great player, and he's really talented.
All right, Brian Chapman.
Ben, we were talking to John at SC Media Day about balancing the install versus continuing to add new stuff.
Yeah.
How have you seen yourself continue to grow and evolve as you on the practice field against an SEC defense and working with this personnel?
Well, that's one thing, I say it to our offensive staff all the time whenever we're in the meeting rooms. I'm like, guys, I don't know who has it better than us. like these guys are incredible over here. Just what they do schematically and some of the guys that we get to go against, I see it as a real competitive advantage for us on offense that we get to go against these guys every single day. But as far as schematics and coaching, I'm a believer that if you're not constantly evolving, you're falling behind. Okay, because those guys at other schools, right? They get paid a lot of money to coach too, and if you just keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, they're going to stop you eventually, right? So you have to constantly keep evolving, and that comes with film study. That comes with a lot of professional development. That comes from listening to the coaches in your staff meeting room with you, because those guys have coached a lot of ball too. They've had a lot of success everywhere too. So, it's one of those things where you're constantly looking at yourself, what you've done in the past and how you can get better. But if you're not evolving, you're falling behind in college football. So we don't ever want to do that.
We're going to come back to the left side. Far back, Brandon Drum, Williams Center.
Ben, just on that note, just what has been the biggest adjustment for you coming from Washington State, going through the spring at Oklahoma? You went up against, obviously, talked about the defense that you went up against every day, but what has been that biggest adjustment for you between Washington State and then just what you had to deal with day to day here, or maybe some of the biggest surprises on a day-to-day basis for you in a Power 5 conference?
Yeah, well, I think you said it, just kind of biggest surprises on a day-to-day basis. Whenever you go somewhere new, everyone has a different way of doing things, a different way of running a practice or scheduling meetings or all the other things that kind of go with it. That's probably been the biggest adjustment for me, because again, I'm still in year one here. Like, this is going to be my first fall camp, so going through these elite meetings and going through these staff meetings about practice and everything, for me, that's the most important thing, because once I get that information, bam, and I can get on the same page, okay, now I can get everybody else on the same page. Or this is how we're going to attack this moving forward. That's probably been the biggest adjustment for me. Yeah, that's been it. It's just kind of being in a new place. I was somewhere for 2 years and knew exactly what we were doing at all times, but coming here and just getting on the same page and every new phase of the season, been the biggest one.
Third row, Curtis Fitzpatrick, Sports Animal.
Hey, Ben, what was your impression of the offensive line, having looked at them before you got to coach them in the spring, and then have you seen them evolve a little bit?
Yeah.
I know you still got the fall camp, but what's been your impression of that group?
Whenever I got here, it was really, really hard to just sit there and kind of get an opinion of them, because there were so many different, offensive lines that they had to play with last year. So you had to pretty much take it on an individual basis, watch kids individually on the film and not necessarily see what the whole collective was doing. Whenever I watched that film, I saw really, really good athletes who played hard. I mean, those guys play unbelievably hard. And whenever we got into the spring, that matched up. And the awesome thing about the spring was we stayed pretty dang healthy through the entirety of it. And so then you really got to kind of see a a mold of what it could be going into fall start forming, and that was exciting. And then watching those guys not just build on it, but take it to a whole nother level this summer with their separate film studies. The offensive line watched more film together this summer than probably any position group in the building. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel really confident in saying that. They were up there constantly. And just seeing that and watching them, because that's the biggest thing about that position group is getting on the same page and watching them dive headfirst into getting on the same page. It made me excited as a coordinator. It made me want to work harder for those guys. Like, okay, these guys are putting in the work. All right, I just want to work harder now for them because they deserve it. And so I'm excited going into fall camp about that group. I think Coach Biedenbow is the absolute best, and I think he's done a great job of getting their mindset where it needs to be heading into fall camp.
We've got time for two more. Right side, third row, clip front, AP.
Yeah, so how do you feel Jiren's picking things up at tight end, and what do you see as his potential there?
Yeah. Jiren has probably honestly exceeded a lot of like my early initial expectations of him at tight end. I talk about the O-line watching film. That dude doesn't leave the building. It can get kind of annoying sometimes, but no, he's been awesome. You know, he's put in the work to go out there and definitely earn himself a spot playing on Saturdays. He's put in that work, and I'm excited to watch him go through fall camp and continue building on it because he's an unbelievable athlete. Like, I mean, you can watch his high school tape and some of the stuff he did on defense the last couple of years. He's an unbelievable athlete who loves football, who just has a knack for the game of football. He's a football guy, but he just needs to go out there every day, be consistent. He knows the things that he needs to work on. We've definitely talked about that in depth and in detail, and so he understands that. And a lot like Jaden, he's a very diligent kid. Like, you tell him to work on something, he's going to work on it, and he's from what I have learned the last 8 months, he's going to get it done. And so I'm excited about Jiren. He's awesome.
Okay, last one, standing in the far right in the back, Parker Thune, OU insider.
Coach, want to ask you about a couple freshman receivers that got thrown into the fire last season, Ivan Carrion and Zion Kearney, two guys. You weren't around for the regular season. You were around for the bowl game against Navy, where they both played pretty good ball. So how have you seen those guys kind of take that performance in the Navy game and use that as a launch pad throughout the offseason?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ivan, my favorite thing about Ivan is how much I've seen his body change over the last 8 months. You know, he's really invested himself in the weight room and the nutrition room, and it shows in his numbers too. I'm not just talking his physical, like his body weight and stuff like that. It shows in his numbers in the weight room, out on the field. He's put in the work to change his body to go out there and be able to be a guy for us. And then Kearney, I really like Zion Kearney. I really do. The biggest thing with Zion is we just have to keep on building that consistency, and confidence is the biggest thing for him, because he is he's 6'2", 215 pounds. He runs well. He has big, strong hands. Like, I mean, he's got it, and it's just bringing that out of him every single day. But I've been really pleased with those two guys, the work that they've put in. They've kind of done it in a quiet manner, just put their head down and gotten after it. But I'm excited about those two guys. I'm excited to see them over these next couple of weeks.
All right, thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.